Second question was from Sharon. What is in the HF module? How does that relate to the engagement report signature block and letterhead? And how does that relate to the statement footers?
That's a great question. So in here, what I'm going to do is I'm just looking at my financial statements in an example file, and I'm going to set this engagement. I've got it set to a compilation. So I have my compilation report here. I can pull in that note for a basis of accounting. Down here, we get questions, people saying, well, you know, I find that when I'm working with Jazzit and I'm in the statements on the report, that I have to manually set things in this area. I don't like what you've chosen here. Maybe I want something like this. Maybe I want something like this. Not that we're a CPA public firm, but I'm just saying, for example. So I find myself having to do this in every file. Is there a better way to do this? Or maybe I want to reorganize some of this other stuff, okay? Well, this signature block is in a separate module in your resource center. It's in your HF module, the financial statements, headers, and footers. What I recommend you do is this. Get these drop downs exactly the way you like them, okay, with the preferences that you want. Then go into your KLib. So I'm the administrator. So I'm going into our resource center. I'm going to open up this module here. So notice that under financial statements, we're opening up the first one here, HF headers and footers, okay? Know that this module does not get updated from a normal update to Jazzit fundamentals. So whatever we do in here is not going to be overridden by any future update. So if we want to change headers, footers, letterhead, signature block, we can do all of that and it will not get overwritten on a future update. Okay, so what I'm going to do is there's a button right here. I'm going to just go right down to the report signature. I'm going to go into a design mode. So we're using the administrator password to do that. Administrators, you should know that password. And in the financial statements, I'm going to do the same thing. So I'll put myself where I need to be. I'm just going to go actually just into enable edit mode. Okay, you may or may not have locked that depending on your firm. I'm going to copy that firm name, which is set to the preference that I want. I'm going to go into that HF module. Okay, so we see firm name here. I'm going to replace that. Now, what that actually did is it set it to the one that I want, the second option. I'll do the same thing with this lower one here. So this cell here is set to the preference that I want. And then I'm going to go in here and set that same cell to that preference. So what I'm doing is I'm just replacing those cells, okay? So it's saying there's a difference because this cell is actually in two places and I want to set it to my preference. So I'm going to use the clipboard preference there. So now I've got those set the way I like them, okay? I'm going to unlock the form mode and just double click up here to tell everybody that, hey, I made a change here. This is a good way for us to know that we're actually connected to the one we just changed. We'll see that in a moment. But before I leave here, what else is here, okay? So if I look at my handy document map here, header 5 is the letterhead. So if I needed to modify letterhead for the report, it's there. And if I look around here, there's the header for subsequent pages. You know, if I want logos on a particular page or anything, I can modify anything in here, save it, and then update the statements. This will not get overwritten by any future update, okay? So we made our changes, we're happy with that. I'm gonna go back into the statements. So let me go here, and I'm just gonna go back out into form mode, where we normally wanna be, okay? Click on admin. So if we're updating the signature block on the report, then we're going to be clicking on the engagement report, okay? It's part of the report. So if I want to update that area, I would be clicking on here. The report itself would be updated and the signature block would also be updated. And down below, we see we are connected to that module properly. That's why I did the date change, so I know I am on that one. If we had updated our letterhead or any footers to other pages, we would be clicking on here to pull that in, okay? So if we go back to our report then, notice that these are now set to my preferences, okay? Remember when we started, those were blank. So that's an easy thing to do. We can just modify it in the HF module and pull that guy in, all right?